Hi everyone, this is Angelica. Thank you for joining me for this video. This video is going to be called Spiritual Awakening or Sick and Crazy. And the reason that I'm titling it that is because a lot of people going through a spiritual awakening have so many symptoms and so many things happening all at once that it's really, really hard to tell if you really are going crazy or if your body's starting to break down, if you're really sick, or, if this is just part of the awakening experience. Of course, if you're having a lot of physical or mental symptoms, definitely see a doctor because, in the beginning of my awakening, I definitely had to see a doctor. And sometimes these things can be helpful. But oftentimes, too, I realize in working with a lot of people that the doctors don't really know what's going on. However, if you go to a psychiatrist and they are trying to determine if you're okay, most likely you're going to be considered crazy to them, because a lot of the things that are coming up and releasing are kind of hard to deal with. And and I'm going to explain that now. Now, this is the first time I'm going to be using my board, and I just wanted to make I'm getting better at my drawing, so I wanted to do this so that I hope you can see it too. And if not, the lighting will get better with it and everything like that, and I'll get better with this. But this is my first time with the board, and so I could just kind of demonstrate everything to you as I'm going. So I just wanted to stand up and show you some of the things that you may be going through if you are going through a spiritual awakening. I'm going to go ahead and move my chair. Like I said, it's the first time I'm using the board, so maybe a little bit strange at first. We'll see how it goes. Okay, oops, yeah, you can't even see me. Okay, there we go. I think you can see the board. Now, this represents the universe and heaven and the little love, the little hearts. This is the love coming in from the higher dimensions. In the higher dimensions, love is just all there is. There's not a lot of density. So then when it comes down, this is the rainbow. I call it the rainbow universe. That's just what I call it. And what happens is this energy starts coming down into the physical body. And here you are, the little angel, earth angel, that's really dense here on earth. And this spiritual energy comes in to your energy body and starts to try to mesh with and merge with and harmonize with your body. And so when that happens, when this spiritual energy comes through and is doing its thing to kind of lighten you up, what happens is a lot of the density, a lot of the things that were really heavy within your physical body start to be released. And so people are really good on this physical plane at holding things in and stuffing things down and just not allowing themselves to even feel. However, it's nobody's fault because they don't even know that they're doing that until they go through a spiritual awakening, and this starts to come in. Now, not everybody goes through a spiritual awakening right at this moment. I have a feeling that with time, everyone's going to be going through this. So, but you're the first ones, and so that means that you're doing this work here, and once that takes place, you get to a place of balance with it. You still do have symptoms and you have things come up. However, you establish a foundation and an anchor, and that's why I have this anchor here. This is the anchor, and here is the Earth Star Chakra, which usually comes online when you start awakening. The Earth Star Chakra is centering you down into the earth, and then the Soul Star Chakra, which is here, is connecting you up to these higher realms. Okay, so And then these are all the chakras here. And there's more chakras than that, but that's just to keep it simple. I'm just going to talk about that. So here's all your chakras, and the spiritual energy coming in is starting to blend with your chakra system and kind of cleanse out anything that no longer fits in with this beautiful higher love. Okay? And that's the whole point of the spiritual awakening process, is to bring this earth into love and harmony. So I'm just going to start talking about the different aspects of this. There's spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical. And there's a lot more than I have written here. However, I'm going to just talk about a few of them. And if you've probably experienced a lot more than this, but I just want to help ease your mind that if these things are going on, they do pass. And eventually you start to feel really good within this process. Better than ever, because not only do you purge out all of the pain that you've held down within you or you've taken on for years, but you also start to acquire more spiritual capabilities. And so the spiritual is what I'll talk about first. So when this energy starts coming down and merging with the chakra system, and the chakras start spinning to come online to be working properly, you'll start to notice some things spiritually that weren't there before. So you'll begin to notice an awareness of other realms. Now, when I say other realms, when this energy comes in, boom, your mind and your spiritual, emotional, everything's like blown wide open. You're cracked wide open, and you can now access everything. You can access really heavenly energies, or you can access darker forms of energies that aren't seen with the eyes. So these are spiritual things coming from other realms, or just coming from the earth plane. Sometimes you're going to just be tuning into darker earth energies, just the pain that's been recycling through this earth plane for so long. And so you're going to be just accessing all of that, and that can be very scary. And so in the beginning of a spiritual awakening, what will happen is oftentimes a lot of darker energies will come to you that are being attracted to your energy through maybe pain you carry within, or it might not even be your pain at all. So you may just, because you're aware and you're more spiritual, you're just picking up on all of these things. And the key there is to not get too attached to thinking it's your stuff, or to blaming yourself, or saying, oh my gosh, why am I feeling all of this? But if you do have any, as your awareness of the other realms is coming in, if you have any really scary incidences where, maybe you see dark energies, maybe you see like Satan, I don't know. But it happens. It happens quite often, actually. You want to not be in fear, because a big part of this spiritual awakening process is learning how to not be in fear, because fear is the opposite of love. Fear is what we are leaving now, and we're moving into higher love. So as we do that, things will come into your awareness from other realms or from the earth plane, and will try to scare you very badly. And the way through that, the way to make that leave and go away, is to just state who you are as a spiritual being on this planet, and say, no, I'm not going to associate with you, and I want you out of my energy field, and they'll leave. Oftentimes what happens is when a darker energy comes into someone's field or tries to scare them, you just get shocked and panicked and in fear. However, you got to stand your ground and say, leave my space, because it's universal law that these energies are not allowed to mess with you unless they can scare you really bad and you allow them to scare you. So just know who you are as a spiritual being. If you're going through this process, it means you're really, really advanced already. And, those darker energies they're just kind of weak energies that are just, the only thing they can use is confusion and fear. So just, ghosts, things like that, just say, go, leave me alone, and they'll leave. Okay, so spiritual gifts will start coming in. However, in the beginning of a spiritual awakening, it'll seem like they're not really gifts, because you're cracked wide open and you're feeling and sensing everything, instead of just those gifts or whatever it is that you're wanting to come in. But these things do start happening. So you may start having telepathy. You'll start having precognition. You'll be able to read people's minds or have conversations with people in your mind, or you will perceive something before it happens. And that can be good and bad, because then you start realizing like what's really going on in people's minds and with their emotions, and but once you start to really strengthen this and anchor into your Earth Star chakra and the earth, you'll become very, very grounded and empowered. And when that starts happening, you'll still have telepathy and precognition, and sensitivity is the next one. You'll be super sensitive to how others feel, and you probably already were, but this will be expanded. So when that begins to happen, at first, you're a little shocked by what's actually occurring and, the things that are coming in. However, like I said, when you start really anchoring down into the earth and balancing this spiritual energy within your chakras, and this starts harmonizing a little bit more, and you start releasing some of that stuff that you held within, you become empowered. And that is the key to the spiritual awakening. Once you're empowered, nothing can touch you. Once you realize you're fully protected and fully safe, that all the angels, all the God, everything from these higher realms, the star beings, God, you're just connected to source, and nothing can touch you. So this earth is anything that's based in fear or illusion is an illusion. So just know who you are, and love heals everything. So just stay in that if you can. Of course, when you're going through this, it's very hard to stay in that place. And again, you probably will start realizing that you have some sort of healing abilities if you are an empath, and you will start to notice that you can maybe put your hand on someone and they're powerfully affected by your energy, and you have the ability within you, because you are a powerful spiritual being, to have a healing effect on others. So next we're going to go to the emotional body. When this energy starts coming into the chakras start releasing past pain. And you start purging maybe years of things that you held within that you didn't even know you had. So your emotions will be up and down. As the spiritual energy comes in, you may feel a blast of like really high, happy energy. You're totally in the flow. You're shooting out love from your heart chakra, and you're seeing that it's affecting everyone. Everyone's happy. However, when you go really high with these energies, you always come crashing back down really low. So you want to try to get this in balance, the up and down. And when you do, your emotional body will start to balance. So you will feel very grounded within your spiritual energy. You'll still have all these gifts of telepathy, of healing and all of that, but it will be very grounded on earth, and it will be anchored so that you can actually use these gifts, in a way that actually works here. Because when you're up here and you're first having a spiritual awakening, you're feeling like totally like out of it. Obviously, earth people that haven't gone through this process are going to think you're a little bit crazy, because they've never heard of anything like this. And so, and we'll talk about that when we get to the mental. So emotionally, you're going to go up and down at first. If you can try, when you go up and the Kundalini energy starts coming in, the spiritual energy starts coming in, if you can try to balance that a little bit so you don't go too high, because I know when we get high on this energy, it's like, yay, finally, I'm never going to come down from this. But you do, because you go too high and your chakra system kind of gets taken out of alignment, and this is just a shock to your body. And the higher you go, the lower you go in the days following. So you want to make sure to keep things balanced. If you're feeling a lot of powerful, really good feeling energy, Take care of yourself. Eat well, walk, do what's needed, take baths, do whatever is needed for you to feel good. Stay to yourself, do what you need to do for you. Don't allow others to affect you. And that's really hard when you're so sensitive and these things are happening. So you'll be extra reactive because you're so open now and you have so much awareness and everything. You can feel and sense everything. And you can, oftentimes it's hard for people going through a spiritual awakening to know what's theirs and what's the other person's because they're feeling everything. So when someone's feeling something and then you feel it and you can react, especially if you haven't cleared out your chakras yet and there's still like trigger points in there where these things on the outer level are really affecting you and you'll react. And so be careful for that. That can hurt people if you react and it's not necessarily true. So if something happens that doesn't feel right to you, take your time to yourself. Really balance and ground yourself first before you make any decisions, because I actually have made, I'm very fiery, so I've been very reactive in the past and it has not been good. So just if you, and once this balances, then you're not as reactive. Things, you'll sense, you'll be like, okay, that's their stuff, this is my stuff, and I don't have to react to that because that's a projection or that's just not my stuff. So, and then you'll maybe cry a lot. You'll have a lot of emotional reactions, crying or just feeling like really blissful, feeling really happy. Your emotions really start becoming powerful, and it's because you're a powerful creator. So you need to recognize right now who you are. You're a very advanced soul, and you're powerful, and you can actually affect things really strongly. So it's really important that you take care of you in this process. And, you know, other people are going to have their opinions and stuff, but they're not going through this, so they just don't understand. And you got to know that. And you also have to know that this process isn't forever. This eventually subsides and gets way easier. And then you start using these healing abilities and these gifts in your daily life. You know, whether that be in your work that you do every day or just, you know, in general, in shining your light to the world. Again, the goal is love. It's love. We're bringing this energy in and we're allowing it to radiate from us. And in this, we're all connecting together in kind of a light grid around the planet that's at the same time, the earth is ascending into this higher love too. So we're all doing this together. And some people don't have the capacity in their energy body at the moment to really handle this. So that's why everybody's not going through it. Some people just didn't come here for that. Some people don't have the ability in their energy body to take in this energy and actually transmute it and balance it and harmonize it, okay? So I'm wondering if I could stand over here now and if you can see me. Oh, you know what? The light is starting to shine through. I thought that might happen. You know, I'm going to stand back over here. So anyway. Okay, so mental. So when you first start going through an awakening, your mental state is going to be affected, okay? And so what happens with that is, I don't know why I'm drawing. Oh, we can make it into a heart. So you may go, somebody might think you're crazy or something, and then you may go to a psychiatrist and they're going to diagnose you bipolar, schizophrenic. You will probably be very depressed most of the time. Now, this is normal. This is normal for people. I was diagnosed with bipolar. However, my family that I was born into definitely struggles with bipolar disorder, alcoholism, drug addiction, schizophrenia, and depression. So when I first started awakening, and when you first start awakening, everything starts coming out like really fast because we're on the fast track here. We're doing this very quickly. And so if your family patterning has these in it, or even if not, you know, when you start to crack open and feel all these things from these other realms and stuff and start talking to angels and other beings and stuff, you're going to go to the psychiatrist and they're going to tell you you're crazy because you don't have control over your emotions, and also you're seeing things that they can't see, so they're automatically going to say you're bipolar. Now, bipolar and schizophrenic people are actually pretty genius, you know, usually genius types, very intelligent. However, they fragmented somewhere along the line within their chakra system or energy body, where somewhere along the line they created these like blockages and walls to where different aspects of their true nature can't be fully harmonized within. So if you see people on the street and they're talking to other beings, they really are. However, they haven't learned to allow this energy to come through in a way that allows them to anchor in to the earth and bring all those fragmented aspects back within them so they can become a whole being. So if you do have bipolar, schizophrenia, depression in your family, it's all going to come up really, really fast during this initial awakening stage. So, so if you need to go to the doctor and get on some medication for a little while this balances, that's fine. You know, that's okay. However, don't try not to take too much or try not to take it for too long, because you don't want to use a crutch to get through this. You really want to try to nurture yourself, love yourself, do those things that are healing to your emotional body, your mental body, your spiritual body, and your physical body. You know, if you do have bipolar or schizophrenia, walking, running, yoga, man, usually heals it right away. It's why I'm a runner. I run a lot because, like I said, bipolar runs in my family, and when I run, it somehow balances my mind. So usually some sort of exercise, at least an hour a day, will cure mental illness. However, you know, check in with your doctor, because, you know, I'm not a doctor, and whatever you're going through may be more extreme. However, this is something that does happen. And if you find yourself in these states, you can heal this. So I did heal my bipolar disorder. I healed the patterning that comes within my family, within my chakras, to be bipolar or schizophrenic and depressed. And I harmonized that. And so I'm no longer what they would call bipolar. And so then this starts to balance, and your mental capacity is very focused, very sharp, and is better than it ever has been once this balances. And lastly is the physical. So the physical body will start to go through changes, a lot of changes. So you may find yourself tired all the time, wanting to sleep all the time. That's okay, because actually what's happening is this spiritual energy can't actually come through the body and do what it needs to do within your energy system and your chakras. When you're active and you're awake and you're like going to the job and you're working 12 hours a day and just pushing yourself, drinking Starbucks all the time, this process can't really happen. So what will happen is the universe or the spiritual process will actually make you so tired so that you can't really do anything, so that this energy can kind of come through and move through. The best way around that is to have some sort of meditation practice that allows you to be still in the morning for 30 minutes to an hour, so that these energies can kind of do what they need to do. And then you can go on about your day and you won't be so tired, and you won't have like these physical symptoms happening at work, or you won't be, you know, reactive emotionally at work or crying out of nowhere because these energies are trying to come in and do something. But you need to be still. There's a stillness that needs to happen for this to actually take place. You may find yourself having a lot of pain in certain chakras, depending upon where you hold your pain. So if you have pain, you know, in your abdomen, your solar plexus, or your heart, you know, back here between your shoulder blades, that'll go away, but that's just the spiritual energy working and kind of letting go of these things that are happening. And another thing that happens is shaking, tremors. You will find yourself shaking. Some people that I've talked to have legs tremors, can't sleep at night, you know, sweating a lot at night. That's what tends to happen to me is I'll wake up and I'm just like in just have sweat all night as these things are just releasing. So you'll have different things happen. It just depends on who you are and what you're actually clearing. So like I said, when you start awakening, the soul star chakra comes online. And the soul star chakra is really responsible for your purpose and your mission with this process while you're here on earth and what you're doing. And the soul star chakra, which is right above the little halo, I have a little halo there. It's a little bit above where the halo would be. This is your guiding light. So this is what's pulling you forward. And you may not know why you're even here or why you're on this journey. However, the soul star chakra will lead the way and will guide you. And so if you're unclear about that, then just try to, in meditation, see the soul star chakra and kind of feel into what it's trying to tell you, where it's trying to guide you. And then that's connected to the earth star chakra. And this is a very important circuitry, because this is bringing in the spiritual energy and bringing it through the chakras within your body, and then anchoring it to the earth star chakra, which anchors you to the ground. Now, a lot of spiritual people have a hard time being anchored to the earth, because we, not always, a lot of people that awaken also come from the earth and have a hard time dealing with this. However, myself and a lot of people I talk to don't have a lot of strength in the lower chakras and are really hard at, it's difficult for them to anchor into the earth. So it just depends. Sometimes when this starts happening, the spiritual part, all this, very grounded earthy people who are spiritual as well and going through this have a really hard time with this aspect. So for me, this aspect was okay. I was totally okay with all this. However, it was more like bringing it down and allowing it to be anchored into the earth that was hard for me personally. So it could be different for everyone. Anyway, so this is the process, and you aren't sick or crazy. However, see a doctor anyway, get their opinion, and then tune into yourself and see if any of this makes sense to you, and start to really determine for yourself what's true for you. Because, a lot of this process too is becoming empowered, like I said. And when you're empowered, you don't seek answers from outside of you. Obviously, you read and you watch videos like this, you learn information, but you always take it within your own self and really determine if this is right for you. Always decide what your higher self is trying to tell you, because even though a lot of us are going through a similar process, we do all have a different path, a different mission, and like I said, different ways of dealing with this, different things in our family patterning, different emotional things happening. And so, no one way is going to be right for everyone. So this is a journey within. This is a journey about really trusting yourself and your process, and then again, coming into love. Higher love is the whole reason that all of this is happening. And I'd say, I don't like to give time frames because everybody's different. If you're someone who's super stubborn, this process could take a while. If you really allow it and do what's needed and have understanding about it and get help for it and start doing the process and doing the work, you could go through this really difficult phase within, a few years. However, you have to understand, when we're shifting so much and this energy is coming down into the body like this, this is a very intricate and delicate process that takes time. So people get really impatient once they're cracked open and they realize, oh, wow, things are like this. Okay, well, why can't my physical body be there yet? Why can't my emotions be there yet? Why can't my mental state be there yet? Because it has to give time to balance. I mean, this is such an extraordinary situation here. And this is very, very, if you imagine what's actually occurring, there's so many things that are happening. And you got to allow yourself to enjoy the process. You have to allow yourself to just be happy Anyway, even with the emotional, stuff going on, the thing that helps is education, and the thing that helps is understanding. So once you understand what's going on, you can be in a really low emotional state and be crying and be okay because you know that you're releasing stuff. Or, you could be feeling a little bipolar and no, it's okay because you're healing that now. Because why it's coming up so intensely right now is because it's purging from your system. It's not only purging from your system, it's purging from the world. We're not only healing ourselves, but as we heal ourselves, we heal the entire planet. And then the planet becomes love. So I love all of you, and thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that this whole thing makes sense, and I hope that you can see the board well, and if not, we can make some adjustments for the next video. Thank you, and have a beautiful day.